to give a spot to somebody who's going to waste a spot. So I hope that it works out for her, but that's the issue right now that we're having with some of these European competitors. You know, I know if I mean, I remember Charles Griffin, the bodybuilder who won the Legion show last year. He went over to Canada like a few years back, and got there and they're like, nope, you got to turn back around and go home. You're not allowed in this country because he had a felon, and so he had a felony on his record. So it'll be interesting to see, what is going on. And like you said in the interview, she was explaining. So I would be interested to see what the explanation is of why, she's having a problem getting her visa. I know at one point in time it was a president thing when Trump was in office the first time, and denying people like Hadi Cooper couldn't get here. Remember for a couple years, and that's why Flex Lewis for many I think held on to the title because Hadi Cooper couldn't get here, and everybody wanted to see that battle. So I'm sure it's something along the way between the government and their personal deal, the reason why these athletes not getting there. So it'll be interesting. I hope she gets here because she looks like a hell of a competitor.
Well, I found the video. I had to go to another site to find it because I thought they have it on the We the Strength IG, but they had it on one of the other sites. So I'm gonna pull it up here where she's talking. There she is right there. Let's see, and we're gonna play it.
Does it feel?
It feels amazing. I finally did it. It was my fifth Romania show, and I did it.
You absolutely did do it. You are going to the Mr. Olympia 2025, and I have watched you on this stage now for a few years, and I've got to say this is your best look I've ever seen, and I'm so proud, and I know that everyone here is absolutely proud of you. And I can I just say that routine is always amazing. How do you do it?
Because I love the audience with people. Because I think the bodybuilding it's not only competing; it's a show for people around us. That's why I try to make my routine so interesting, and I really love it.
Well, I can definitely say that everyone here loved your routine today and you got the crowd going. So thank you so much for that performance. And honestly, good luck on your journey. What is next? Are you going to relax now? Are you going to just take it easy?
I have just one today off and back to my regular schedule. It's never done, Work never be done.
That's amazing. And where can people find you?
On Instagram, of course. My Instagram is Korobleva.10. Just follow me.
There you guys, you go follow Anastasia to her journey at the 2025 Mr. Olympia. Thank you for watching Romania Muscle Fest, a Wings of Strength production, and we will see you soon.
Well, like I said, she you didn't, because she wants to compete. I hope she does get her visa stuff straight because this is the biggest body. The Olympia is the biggest event, and I would hate for her to miss out because, like I said, she's been competing as long as she has. She's still a young woman. I think she hadn't cracked 30 when she turned pro. I think she was about 23, 25, 23, 24, and that was back in 2019. And she's been a pro for at least 5 years, and and competed at the room, and she's been competing at that show just about consistently ever since she's been a pro.
Well, like I said, she looks good. I mean, and clearly she's made the improvements. That she's needed to do. And again, like she said, tomorrow she goes back to work to regular schedule. People think after we win, we just take a break, and we really don't because that's really the phase in which we have the best time to grow and things like that. So it'll be interesting. Like I said, I guess we'll just have to keep our ears open to see what happens with her. And Glenn Boswell looked good. I mean, Julia, I mean, again, some of these girls you have to understand that all these shows that they do, sometimes you just need, to make the improvements that you need to make, you got to take some time off. And I don't even know why Julia Wetzel would go over there. I think her and Boswell, and I get it, her and Boswell went up, huh? I can't hear you.
That was Julia Foray. not Julia
Oh,
Wetzel.
okay, yeah. So
Julia Foray. I should have said that.
okay,
That was Julia Foray, not Julia
yeah,
Wetzel. She's not
yeah,
gonna. No, no, she's
yeah.
not.
So
Yeah, that was.
like something like Boswell, I understand. Well, that's what she had qualified before. But again, at the end of the day, it's one, and I know she has a new coach again, but sometimes your body needs a break to make the improvements that you really need to make, to compete against somebody like this girl, and so as well as she took second, now she's going to have to go back home and take another break, and regroup and regather. And, imagine she, with this new coach, some things will change. But again, I mean, some of these girls just need a break. We already know how hard it is on their body, but Boswell, I mean, what was that, her like fourth show this year?
Yeah, because she the first show she did was the Rising Phoenix.
Yeah.
Then she did the Alita Classic show.
Yep.
Then she did the show in the UK, and then she does this show, and that's three shows
She didn't do the world.
overseas.
She didn't do Rising Phoenix.
Yeah, she did Rising Phoenix.
So that's
Yeah, so that's four shows, and three of those shows she did overseas, and two of them in Romania, and all three she got second place.
yeah, exactly. And some of these European girls are no joke, man. So it's like it's not a cakewalk to go over there and just think you're gonna get the dub because the European girls are obviously coming in better and better and in better shape and bringing better packages. That it's not a cakewalk like it used to be.
Yeah, because remember, was it 2022 when she did the Europa in Spain.
Yep.
She was the first American to win that show in Spain. But
Yep.
now it's moved from Spain to the UK. Somebody else runs it. Two pros run it now.
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, we all remember that she won it last year when she did the Masters Olympia. Um, just Sherry, she took second at Portugal to Anastasia, another person who qualified for the Olympia, but
Yeah.
some this issue. Her husband talking, hey, yeah, come over here, yeah. But if your wife can't come here and compete, there's no point you talking that. Save that shit. Save that drama for your mama. Save that shit for yourself. Here we
Yeah.
got here my man Chad Davis. Shout out to Chad coming through. He says, Brother George, don't talk about Dallas Cowboys. I'm still weeping. LLB.
Hey,
Well,
y'all ownership sucks, bro. He needs to be an owner, not a general manager. So I feel for you.
Yeah, he needs to retire. Jerry Jones, go to pasture, and I don't know, do what you got to do, widow something, or listen or watch Andy Griffith show.
Seriously, leave somebody else in
Also,
charge of the football.
yeah. Also, he says, Brother George, those biceps I got on my profile picture. LMB, he's talking about, I think he's talking about my picture I got of Andrew Yo. I did a live stream, I did a live stream last night with KL and then I used that for my cover. I just wanted to do something different. Also, excuse me. Also, and said, good to see you guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, but yeah, it is like I said. The women in Europe, I started catching, and also it's just that one thing I think somebody told me because the gear is a little bit more at a high level compared to the United States.
The gear, yeah,
and that's why some like with some Europeans they move over here and try to compete. The look kind of changed differently. Either they have to.
Well, here's the thing. My buddy Cordell, who's a physique pro, he made a analogy, and it actually made sense as I thought about it. He says, like when you're in Europe and you're in those different countries, the food variety is way different and way less than the United States, and so your selection of food is just way different. And I think because in the United States you have such a, when they come over here, they go to a grocery store, they're like, holy shit, wow, look at this, like a kid in a candy store. Over in Europe and those foreign countries, it's different. So their limit, and I don't want to, because people say the gear is different. I understand all this other stuff, but again, at the end of the day, what it boils down to is I always tell people, it's not about what I use, it's about what I'm eating, what I'm doing to make my body look this way. The gear is a precursor to everything else, this, that, and other. But at the end of the day, what we're talking about is when he said that, I was like, wow, that would make sense. Like when you go in, this is what you got, this is what you get. When you go in our grocery stores, it's like a kid in a candy store. You can get whatever. And I said that only makes sense. So You can see like the European athletes, whether it's Brazil, India, these guys in Kuwait, all these guys, they're coming hard these days, man. They're coming in great shape, great conditioning, and all this other stuff. And I wouldn't, and I would give them more credit than just the gear. I just think the overall culture of food and what they have to do and the limitations on what they have is making them better athletes than some of these athletes here in the United States.
One thing I found out is that also with American foods, we have more processed stuff. There's more
Exactly.
additive stuff. With foods overseas, like if you go to Italy, I remember I interviewed Jess Urbine. Urbine. She's a physique competitor. Her husband's originally from Colombia. They were in Colombia for about a month because his mother was sick and they was visiting her and see how she was doing. She said when she was eating, even it was the stuff that you're not on a regular basic diet, it was still a lot cleaner than the stuff that we have here. She's
Yes.
thinking about maybe going to where they might go back to visit the family again, stay the next 6 months, train, work out there. She feels like she can probably do a lot better over there,
Yeah.
especially in the diet wise, because
Yeah.
we have like a lot of processed foods, stuff like
Yes.
that, and it's not good. I mean,
No.
I'm like I said, I'm eating a little better. I'm trying to be a little cleaner, but still there's some stuff like, in even with you know the meats you get, what the injecting is, because
Mm-hmm.
you want bigger animals, like I remember when people talk about injecting chickens and cows with steroids. You got teenage girls walking around with titties bigger than their mama, and you got your son who's supposed to be he's 10 years old, he's already 6 feet tall.
Yeah. It's crazy. So I think that's one of the biggest things over there. So there's, that's, when my buddy told me that, I was like, he is a physician assistant too. And I'm like, God, that makes sense. I mean, just think how much, I mean, and not saying all, but a lot of the European competitors and competitors overseas are coming with it. You got the Andrew Jacks, you got the Samson Duas, you got, Hadi Kupas, I mean, Big Ramy was around for a minute, this girl who just won this show, so you got some Europeans, whether it's Europeans or the Brazilians or whatever, are coming forward, and they're looking really damn good. So kudos to them for sure.
Mhm. Yeah. Here we got a comment from Dylan McCain. He says, "Great show, George. Great interview, Big G. Appreciate it. Also, we got this from a man, War 2000. Did you see the remaining pro show, George and Keith? Well, I didn't see it. I just clips and pictures here and there. I didn't watch the whole show because
Same
when
thing.
they had the prejudging was really early in the morning,
Yeah,
and right now it's getting close to the holidays, so I'm not buying any more streams this rest of the month because I want to, holidays are coming up, Thanksgiving and Christmas.
and
So
like I know Open Man's, man, they had a lot of guys there. I'm like, holy shit, dude, it was a lot of guys there. And I heard that show was pretty phenomenal too. But again, I know I don't even the guy who won. I want to say was from Brazil. The guy who won. But yeah, the lineup was just deep, and the women's lineup was always going to be good there just because, again, some people think, if you're trying to get an early qualification, like the Legion show, the this Romania show, there's some shows where the classes are not as deep and not as thick. So if you're going to try to sneak in and get Olympic qualification so you can work on everything you do need for the next year, it's a perfect show to do. Like the one in New Prague next week, it's another good show to do. Because again, you get that qualification, then you got a whole year to take off to get everything fine tuned for the Olympia. So because you're already qualified.
well, I'm gonna put the picture of the guy. Is this is my man Big Keith. I got to do this for him because he's a bodybuilder, and we have the winner, the man's winner from the Romanian Muscle Fest. Let me see his name. His name is. Let me get his name right because I don't want to mess it up. I think it's Raf. Let me see. Let me click on his IG. It's Rafael Brandio. I think
Yeah, he's
that's what
from
his name is.
Brazil.
From Brazil. Guy got like about 1,000,007 followers. Yeah, yeah, pretty good. And this is gonna be. I don't know. This is gonna be first Olympia. You think?
I think he did. Was he not? I think he was in Olympia this year because
Mhm.
I want to say he won. Was it Chicago? He won a show this year. I think he was already. I think he was in Olympia this year.
Let me see. We're going through his IG, and
Maybe
Let's
even
see.
Brazilian Arnold, something like that. I know he won a show.
Yeah, don't see it. So it's probably a long way down here somewhere. But yeah, I think right here looks like he's on the stage at Olympia. Uh, I think he was guest posing. He might have been guest posing the way it says in the thing, in
Oh,
the tag. But wait. Here, I think this might be him right here. You know, and it looks like I don't. I saw the picture on the here, but yeah, here's a comparison from 2017 to 2024 Olympia. So yeah, he was at the
yep,
Olympia. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I mean, it's just the evolution of each athlete, especially in the divisions. Between women's bodybuilding, physique, and all the others. Everybody, now like this weekend we have two more shows, but they're for physique. There's the Atlantic Coast, and there's a show, the Ben Weeder Natural Show.
yep,
Um, we got a comment here from my man War. He says, "What do you think of Anastasia Kovalova winning?" Well, she deserved it. Like I
yeah.
said, I'm a fan. She worked hard. I mean, been consistently and competing at that show for a long time. Also, we had here. This is from Chad Davis. He says, "Cowboys versus Chiefs Super Bowl LX next year, Big Heath. We will
Dream
arm wrestle."
on, dream away. This team will
I
be the referee. That's funny.
I think I'm sorry, bro. I don't think it's gonna happen. Maybe
No.
Dax is injured. He may not come back anytime soon. He might just pull a Tony Romo and retire.
The only way
Well,
I can see that happen is like they've been talking about if Deion Sanders takes the job and they draft his son, they sandbag the rest of their game so they can get a top pick and then they draft his son. Deion Sanders would be a good fit for the Dallas Cowboys. So, but they got to get rid of the coach, and they got to let Jerry Jones start just being an owner and not a GM because that's the downfall of their situation over in Dallas right now.
I'm gonna say this. Never was a big Dallas fan, but he messed it up when he got rid of Jimmy Johnson.
Oh
He
yeah,
messed up that team.
his ego gets in the way.
Yeah, the thing is, you shouldn't be worried about making money and getting championships. He hired his buddy Barry Schweitzer, and he only reason why he got that one Super Bowl because of what the guys learned
Jimmy
from Jimmy.
Johnson, yeah,
Yeah, so you just kind of, you didn't win because of you.
yeah.
Um, Here, this is from Warrior. It says, "Will the Miss Olympia accept Anastasia as the top five contender?" I don't know. That's like I said, she has. I mean, you still have to. Andrea, you have Ashley, you have Angela. You never know if maybe Sherry Priami might pop back up into that spot again, and you still
Hmm.
have Hella. You never know if you don't bring your best condition. She might can crack
Yep.
top 10, depending who's going to be competing next year. We all
Yeah.
know we know Andrea's coming back. Andrew's coming back. Ashley's coming back. Hell's coming back because she's already got a bye because she's a two-time Rise Phoenix champion. And now Anastasia got her spot locked. So we just got to wait on everybody else.
Yep.
Yeah.
See what
Like I said,
happens.
yeah. This is from man. Warrior says AJ and JB are big fans of Anastasia Kavalova, and AJ was at the Romanian show, really all briefly all excited like a kid on Christmas Day when Anastasia won. Yeah, because he's a big fan. He knows the girl for a long time. Her English has gotten a lot better because she didn't speak English that well, but it has gotten a lot better. Also, this is from a man, Dylan McKay says, "Yo, Keith, you look pumped, bro. Damn."
Ah, thanks. I just man, I went to my gym workout was at 11:30 today. It's growing phase for me, so I'm just getting ready for 2025. So it's a growing phase and detoxing the body so we can get ready for 2025. But I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, say hey. And also, he said this. This is from Dylan McKay says, "Any tips, Keith? Thanks for a shout out, George. You appreciate it, brother."
What kind
And
of tips are we talking about?
just anything. I think you just basically
Hey,
if you want to.
eat clean, train smart. I was just telling somebody at the gym today, I train like the guys did in the 80s and 90s. All these, like Arnold Schwarzenegger said, as much as I despise him in so many ways, the guy knows what he's talking about when it comes to training. And weightlifting and weights are weights. And all these new fad diets, I have my client ask me, well, the reverse diet, what we're going to do? I'm like, you mean adding the regular foods after you do your show in a couple weeks? I said, and macros. I said, no offense and all, not one time in my career as a pro or amateur have one of my clients or one of my trainers, and I've worked with some of the best, has ever sent me, Melanie being my coach, and she'll tell you a macro. 8 ounces of steak is 8 ounces of steak. 10 ounces of chicken, 10 ounces of chicken. I get numbers that make my life simple, to eat and live by. And then even when I go to the gym, Melanie's philosophy, and she talked about this with you, George, is check your ego at the door. It's not about the weight. It's not about how much you lift. It's about how you move in the weight. Charles Glass taught me that a long time ago. Mel's taught me that, and many other people have taught me that. So don't get caught up in nutrition is the first thing. If your nutrition is not on point, you're not going to get the gains. People want to say gear, but that's the precursor to everything else. Is how you eat, how you train, and then once you get to the element of gear and things like that, again, that's a personal decision of what you're trying to accomplish or what you're trying to do. That's just a precursor of what we do. So that's my tip of the day.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Dylan. He says, yo, I need you as a trainer about to go into the police academy. Well, young man, thank you for your service. I hope you do a good job. We need good people in the police because, yeah. But
Yeah,
also, this is from Warrior. He's always saying, if Tina is competing next year, please let us know because we are rooting for her, Keith. Yeah, we as you know, Tina is
yep,
planning on
she is
competing.
competing. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
just we got our blood work done. We got it back last week. Melanie is just going over everything, giving us a little break because we even with the 4.5 months that we were with her. Before then, we were still dieting and training hard. So our body just needs a break and decompress. I know she had looked at the Triple O, possibly Tampa or Orlando or Tampa or Chicago that we can do together. So we haven't really made a decision yet, but we are competing next year for sure because next year is Tokyo for me. So yeah.
hmm Also, we got here from Chad. He says, but I'm a fan till I'm 10 toes up. You erase what we have. We are both two dynasty teams. Big Keith, yeah. So, yeah, it's about timing, what you're going to bring. Like I said, the big question is we're going to have shows because we talked about it before that last year wasn't many shows. This year was almost fewer shows until Alina stepped up and created the Alina Classic. Then you have now the the Grand Prix, Titan Grand Prix. So and now we have the return of the Masters Olympic. And that kind of helps with the number of shows, especially for women's bodybuilding. And there's at least I just this is there's just a couple of the shows week before this the women's with the Clash. I just talked to a lady that did Evie a while back. That show, it was a one-time deal. They're not going to have it back next year. Um, the St. Louis Pro, they dropped women's physique from their lineup, and then there's talk about the Pittsburgh Pro expanding theirs. They're picking up women's bodybuilding.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see if somebody steps up and gives the opportunity for that show to add women's bodybuilding. Maybe just me, but I like to see that opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like if if the IFBB is so concerned about like these shows for women, and I don't know if they are, if they're not, you're going to like again, I refer back to what Chris Mim said to me at the Legion show. Well, if somebody gives me 20 grand, then I can put the women's bodybuilding in. At the end of the day, if it's financial is the biggest problem with getting this open women's bodybuilding classes in, then I feel that the IFBB should step in and do something like, whatever the, sanction fee is, maybe cut it in half, and then, hopefully, and then that can tell you if it's a success or not. I mean, like, if you're promoting it right and doing it the first year, you get the sanction fee cut in half. And it's like Tamer Show in California. I mean, it was amazing, and I don't even think he advertised that show very well or very much. But Muscle Contest is a big brand. But again, I like he brought it in, and that was a Jake Wood and his decision, I imagine, and talking to Jim Mannion because they extended the invitation for the Olympia this last past few weeks ago, a month ago, or whatever. So I think it's something that the IFBB needs to step in and do as far as helping these promoters or pushing these promoters to want to, massage a little bit to want to put women's bodybuilding in there. What that's going to take is it's completely up to Jim Mannion, Tyler Mannion, Imagine, and fan and so forth with the promoters of what they need to do to get these shows in there. Because at the end of the day, you still got to get clearance from the IFBB, and I don't know if these promoters say, man, I really want to get women's bodybuilding in here, but the sanction fee is killing me, the money's killing me, because nobody wants to rob Peter to pay Paul. You want to still make some money out instead of coming out even because there's a lot of time and meticulous shit that goes into these shows to put them on. So I think that the way this succeeds for women is the women need to be more proactive. As far as exposing their sport to the world. Doing the videos and doing all this other stuff. I just watched this cool thing on Andrea. I know you liked it too. Of like the balance between family and training and her mom and all this other stuff because that's the real side of what we do. It's not just we're in the gym every day eating chicken and rice and steak and sleeping and taking gear. There's elements. I coach my daughter's basketball team. I coach my daughter's softball team. I train people. We have a bar to run. Plus I got to train myself. So there's real life shit that goes into this that I got two kids, one son that's playing for Major League Baseball, one son's kids starting point guard in the university. So we got a 3-year-old. So that's a balance of life. I think, and I'm and I got a great support system. Me and Tina support each other very much so. But I think if these women start exposing more to their life than just training, and we talked about this on Jeremy's show, it becomes better, and that's the reason why so many people like Samson Dua, because since 2018, he has pretty much documented his life on tape, a lot of his life on tape with the dog and his wife and the training, and travel and everything, and people start to, he won the People's Champ Award and he won the Mr. Olympia. These women don't do that, and I know because even when I have gone to the world champions in the past, which they don't do the videos anymore, it was so like, okay, we know you lift weights. Okay, what else do you do? And I think they don't give themselves enough exposure in order to promote their sport to get people to understand exactly what they do because not every woman has babies, not every woman have kids. You like Teresa. She's writing a book. She had an eating disorder and all this other stuff. When you get that out there to not your just niche group of people, but to a bigger audience, and there's women we know that have eating disorders. We know women who suffer from self consciousness and don't want to go to the gym. But if these women say, "Well, this is where I started," Margie, remember Margie was a big girl, lost all that weight and became one of the best bodybuilders ever to grace the stage but you don't hear about these stories. You have to research to find out about these stories. And I think if these women put their stories out there, it's like when Janine was talking last week about or the week before about, the rebound effect of after doing shows, and she's writing a book about it. I don't think there's enough information out there for the women that is, or in our sport in general to really truly get people to understand what we do and how complicated it is because the first thing that people look at when they see us is they affiliate bodybuilding with steroids, right? And it's more to it than that. So at the end of the day, giving them a better understanding of getting inside your life as a woman or male or whoever, a competitor in general in this sport, gives better people better perspective and probably earn more respect and make it more popular. But until that happens, and the thing that drives me crazy with the women, who are having such a problem is they don't do it. They don't do it at all, if any. I think the one girl who's the posing girl, the one girl who did the 5, things on the best trainer who, I think she's been a pro for 3 years.
Richard Daniels.
Yeah, she's doing a great job, of talking about so many different things. But but that's one person, versus many more people who need to do the same thing, especially when in essence we see that sport kind of to fading and dying away. Like, if a promoter knew, like, man, these girls are on social media and they're fans, like you just said, the one girl had a million something followers, whatever case, or he had a million something followers,
Yeah.
and these girls have these many followers and people were supporting them, they probably wouldn't mind they probably wouldn't mind doing, putting on these shows. But when there's no popularity for it because they're not self promoting the show themselves, then the promoters definitely ain't gonna give a shit.
Yeah, yeah. We have here man KL the Wanderer just popped in. Shout
Hey,
outs to him. I
what's
was on
going
last
on?
night. Yeah, I was on last night. He had a little live, and that was part of it. I appreciate the invitation. We have a comment here from man Chad Davis says, Big Keith, do you have a Facebook, brother? I will send you a request, even though you are a red-haired Chiefs fan.
Yeah, it's Keith N. So it's Keith AN. Tina Williams is our fan page that we share together. So you can follow us on there, and yeah, we can get together.
Yeah, and he says, but he also says, but it's your call, brother. And also, this is from a warrior. He says, "Hey Keith, are you going to be judging any shows next year? So, are you going to still do your judging duties,
Yeah,
or
yeah, I
focus?"
am. But the problem is, so like what I found out that Chad Nichols and Kim Shiseski only got 3 shows this year. Jack Tatone has gotten most of the shows, and I like Jack. Not gonna say anything because I got clients competing in the show in 2 weeks. Jack's different. He's in the St. Louis area. I'm more in the Kansas City, Kansas, Missouri area. So I imagine I'll probably judge, 3 shows this year. Um, you know, and like I even reached out to Jack, because sometimes these promoters like it when the pros show up, and I'll be there at the show because I have some clients competing for me to hand out awards to athletes and things like that. But I think not George, but Jack has his own panel of people that he travels with, and my opposing coach Robert Wickman is one of them. But we'll see. I know I'll judge some shows, maybe 2 or 3 shows this year, but that's it for the books for me for this year. So
Yeah, because I think Jack, he instead of getting cut out Windsor Zeke from the St. Louis
Omaha,
Pro.
yeah.
He said they still have it Omaha because he said that if it was enough competitors for the Omaha, they were
Oh,
going to drop it.
yeah.
But there were at least I think about 15 women for that show, so it was enough to be able to save it a little bit.
Nice.
The thing we did need to do is add another division, maybe bring back women's bodybuilding, but he's not going to do that. Or
No.
maybe figure or something. As you know, Wolfpack is always promoting the wellness division. Hey, bring that in. You might get a bigger crowd because people like
Well,
wellness girls.
and you understand, I mean, the situation with Jack was in a lot of these shows was that Wings of Strength was backing these shows, for women's bodybuilding. So they're like, bet, let's do it because they weren't having, Jake probably was paying money, to have it. So, or to, support the show and the prize money and things like that. So, in which they did an unbelievable job. But again, Jamie, Jake, he's put a lot of time and effort into these things, and I've watched over the years, not Wings of Strength, because Alex and Jessica and all those girls and Nico and Jake and all those people, Alina and all those people, and Linda and all those people over there are great. What I've come to see when I was watching what was translating when the Wings of Strength um, were trying to support these girls. A lot of these girls, and I'm just gonna say, are fucking lazy. They want, and they want to take, but do nothing for it. So you got, it has to be I've watched it firsthand because Tina was a part of Wings of Strength, and these girls, it's like, no, it's like I'll give you a practical example. Like, servers at our bar, somebody asked me, I say, would you rather have a pretty server or a girl who gives good service a little bit bigger? I'd rather have good service. At the end of the day, these girls are standing at these booths. They're not very inviting. You know, the wings of strength. When they fly them out, they got to do appearances at booths. They want to help them pack the gift bags for the athletes, and just I've seen it firsthand. A lot of these girls are just fucking lazy. So when you have that, on top of now Jake has broadened his range with Olympia and everything else, it's like, why am I doing this? If you're, it's like the Jerry Maguire, remember, help me, help you. Help me, help you. But if you're not helping me, why am I going to help you? And so I think that's why they went away from the sponsorship stuff, because there was like, what are we doing? That's why the world championships are world championships. But I think by what Jessica, who runs the Jessica and Alex and and Jake and Linda and Alina, who runs all these different divisions at Wings of Strength, start seeing this, they're like, yeah, we can do other things like promoting shows in Romania and doing other things besides promoting these girls, because they're not promoting themselves. And the only way they will promote themselves is if they're getting paid for it. And that shouldn't be the case. If your sport's a dying breed, you guys should rally up together and and make a run for, hey, how do we get more, make our division more mainstream? And they just don't do anything like that whatsoever, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, because I said like this: someone like Andrea or Chelsea or Teresa or Angela, Sherry, have them come on one of these, these sports shows. Have them sit and talk about themselves and talk about the sport. Get some press conference and stuff like that. Something really to help them out. Really get yourself out there. You know, mingle. Do like I remember they used to do when they had the Wings of Strength. They had that muscle house where you get all the women and they were in the house together. Do something like that. But like I said, Jake's focused on other things, and if
I
you think
mean,
that
but
want
think about it. I mean, think about it this way: how many of these girls have podcasts? How many of these girls go on podcasts without being paid? So again, at the end of the day, it's not just about your podcast, George, or Jeremy's podcast. It's about create exposure for yourself. Create exposure for one another. I'm sure if like you had an Angela Yo and like a Andrea Shaw and Ashley Jones all on one podcast, I mean, it'd be huge for what their sport is doing. Not just like you see this like thing on the Wings of Strength channel of them all in the gym lifting, but how many people watch that shit? But if you self promote, like, hey, I'm going to be on, let's say, the All Rage George page, on this day, and send a link. You know how many people have asked me, and I got this, and actually I have to start having you do that. Hey, what's the link to the podcast you're on? Ask me, and so I got to start giving out this link to people because they want to watch, they want to listen, they want to hear what we're saying. That's us as guys. I'm